And then a nurse comes in and she goes, "Oh, you're finally coming out of it." She's like, "We were worried about you." And I was like, "What's going on?" And the doctor then walks in behind her, and he goes, "Do you remember me?" And I was like, "No." He was like, "I was the doctor that brought the crash cart in." And I was like, "What?"
My name's Olivia. I was born with a rare genetic condition.
We're losing the battle.
My suffering does not define me. With every battle I face, I am made stronger through faith.
And free!
Hey guys, sorry this video is coming out very late, but I'm going to try and explain everything, and then I will throw in the videos from what actually happened while it was happening. So sorry if this video gets a little bit repetitive. I have not actually reviewed the footage. I'm a little bit nervous to go back and review the footage that I took while everything was happening, because I don't know how much sense it's going to make, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be repetitive after I explain what happened. Now it's Thursday. I had my tube change on Tuesday, so not that much time has passed, and clearly it wasn't bad, because the last time I was in the hospital for a little while, and I was only in the hospital for like a day after this. So, or not even a day. So anyways, I went in to get my tube changed. I was super nervous to get it changed, because so my first attempted tube placement was in IR, and they did not knock me out. They gave me some sort of sedation, they numbed the area, and they pre-medicated me with Benadryl and all of that. And like, I watched my bowel get perforated in front of me, so that was a very scary and traumatizing experience. And yeah, if you want to see more on that, I'll try and link the videos right here somewhere so that you guys can watch those if you're interested. But anyways, my actual placement then I did through an endoscopy, and that one wasn't nearly as scary because I was totally knocked out, and they could see and know a lot more and just do more and do everything more precisely, pretty much. And so everything went smoothly. If you want to see how that went, then I'll also link the video up here somewhere, maybe, if you guys are interested in watching how my actual tube placement successfully went. Anyways, so since my successful placement was done through an endoscopy, this one was scary because I had to go back to IR, interventional radiology. And now, since the first time I got my tube attempted place was at one hospital, we only have 2 hospitals in town, I decided to go to the other hospital, so I didn't encounter the same person who perforated my bowel. So when I went to go get it placed, I was super nervous. I come in and I let them know what happened the first time I went to get my tube placed, and told them that's exactly why I'm scared. By the way, I had called them the night before and I told them, "Hey, by the way, I'm going to be super nervous. Is there any way you could totally just knock me out?" And they said, "Well, we don't typically do that for tube exchanges, but because of your past experience, we're going to give you a lot more sedation and pain medication." And I was like, "Okay, great, good." So then I'm at the appointment confirming that they're going to do what they said over the phone, and they were like, "Yep, that's exactly what we're planning to do, so we need you to sign these papers, blah blah blah." I signed the papers, and then the nurse comes in and like gets me ready, and she says, pretty much just tells me the entire process again, this time including what they're doing because of my past experience. And then I asked her, I was like, "Okay, you mentioned that you're just gonna put lidocaine jelly around the area. Do you use lidocaine injections?" And she told me no. And I was like, well, could you, because of my past experience, like if I feel anything, I might freak out. And she kept telling me no. And so I was getting more and more nervous. But eventually it got down to the anesthesiologist coming to get me, and I asked her, and she was like, oh yeah, absolutely, we'll put tons of lidocaine injections in you. And I was like, okay, great. So I get pushed back to the area, and she's giving me the medication. She's like, are you still awake and aware? And I was like, oh yeah, fully aware, fully awake. And they're playing music. She's like, all right, what kind of music do you listen to? Now she's asking me a bunch of questions. She's like pushing more medication through, and I'm telling her, and I'm still like fully awake, fully aware. And then it gets to a point where like I can't really respond too much, but like I'm somewhat aware of what's going on around me. And so I was like, okay, I'm good. And so they started the procedure, and before I knew it, they were done. And I was like, oh wow, great, that was fast. And they're like, okay, but there's one thing we need to let you know. This tube is a lot shorter than the one you have in, or had in. And they were like, we're gonna have to get a new one in you as soon as possible, because with you having this shorter tube, we don't think that it's going to work how it's supposed to. Meaning like absorption wise, or like reduce the amount of times that I get sick and things like that. And so I was like, oh man, and I was like really upset about it. Just wait, I'm gonna get more upset after something. But and you'll see what I mean. But anyways, I was like, oh, okay. And they were like, yeah, so you need to either get a hold of the manufacturer or your surgeon to get a new tube, so that we can place it. And I was like, okay. So they pushed me back to recovery. And then I'm falling asleep, and then I start to get really nervous and itchy. And like normally whenever I go into anaphylaxis, my scalp starts itching like crazy. And so like that started happening, and I was getting really nervous, and like it slowly was spreading down, and I pressed the call button, and then I just remember the nurse coming in and telling her my body's on fire. And she was like, explain to me what you're feeling. And I was like, just my whole body itches. And then I remember like not too long after that, she was talking to me, but like I couldn't say anything, and I was having trouble breathing. And then I heard her call a code in like a rapid response, and then she pushes epinephrine through my port. And I've only had epinephrine in my leg, but when she does it, like I can't hear anything suddenly, and then my head is like throbbing and just feels like it's gonna pop, and so does my heart. And then suddenly everything starts closing in, like my vision's closing in, and I couldn't really see that much. It was like seeing out of a little pinhole. And then next thing I know is I'm out, but I'm waking up. And the room looks different. And a doctor comes in, and he's like, how are you feeling? And I was like, good. He was like, you know we switched rooms, right? And I was like, yeah. And like I wasn't sure if that was the right answer, because I wasn't sure if I did switch rooms. The doctor says, yeah, so we switched you from the recovery room, and I came and got you and brought you down to the ER. He said you went into anaphylactic shock, and we had to come and get you. And I was like, okay. And I remember I didn't look down at my watch. What did I do? I looked at my phone, and I saw that it was like 8. And I remember the last time I looked at the time, it was like 2. And I was like, whoa. How long have I been out? He's like, you've been unconscious for like 6 hours. He's like, and fully unresponsive. He said, but sometimes epi can do that. And I was like, well, I mean, I've never gotten epinephrine through my port, but anytime I've gotten it in my thigh, this wasn't my experience. He said, well, that's the anaphylactic shock you were experiencing. And I was like, okay, this just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And I was so confused because, I mean, 6 hours of my day was gone and I didn't remember any of it. And I just remember like crying and feeling very scared. And he pretty much like tried to explain things to the best of his ability with the questions that I had, but I had a lot of questions, and like obviously doctors don't want to stress patients out, and I know that, but it's hard to understand something that like you aren't aware of that was happening, if that makes sense. But yeah, the whole thing was just very, very scary, and I hated it. Now I have to go get my tube changed again. I'm not happy about it. The doctor pretty much said, because I asked him like 5 times, I think, I was still kind of like confused. But I asked him, I was like, so why did I go into anaphylaxis? I swear, I probably asked the question 5 times, and he kept telling me it was because of the contrast dye, and like, I'm allergic to contrast dye. It was just confusing because I've had contrast dye before, and I've been pre-medicated, and they did pre-medicate me, and I've been fine in the past after being pre-medicated, but this time, I guess I wasn't. Either that, or like, it was something else. I don't know, but he told me that it was because of the contrast dye. So I guess that's why it happened. This video is going to be possibly random, possibly unorganized, and possibly not very promising. But that's not to say that I'm not going to do my best to answer all your questions, because I will. I'll do my best. But just give the video some time. It might answer your questions along the way because of how it's organized. It's weird. But also, one last thing is that there's a video where I started to record, and then, I don't know, something happened. But yeah, it's just all kind of very scattered. Forgot to mention, hello there. Before I show you how my tube works and everything, I am going to insert all of the footage that I have, even though some of it is pretty cringy. And I haven't even watched it, I'm just guessing. There is a time where I start recording and I stop recording. I forgot to mention, I do go to the hospital in between from when I got discharged to when I got home, because my heart was having some issues, and while I was there, they had to run some labs, and they ended up having to give me 2 different medications for my heart to get it beating properly again. So that's what you're going to see happen in this video, where I start recording and like don't finish. It's because a nurse walked in and I totally forgot to pick up the camera and record again, because then they gave me heart meds. But yep, that's all I have to say. Now you guys can watch all the footage. Alright, so I'm all ready for my tube change, and my mom's going outside, so I'm trying to hurry up and get out there. This procedure, I just totally self-sabotaged because I'm so nervous. Okay guys, so everything's going pretty smoothly so far. I just got taken back to the room and changed, and I'm so nervous, but my experience with IU surgeries have been pretty good so far, so this is the last time you see me before I go in. Wish me good luck. Hey guys, so the procedure went well, but something happened and I started to go, I was in anaphylaxis. My body went into shock for a little while, and they had to give me a lot of medications to fix it. And they pulled me over to the ER, but I'm assuming it was caused by mast cell. I do have my button now though, and there's another problem with that, because it's feeding into my duodenum instead of my jejunum. And so I'm probably going to have to get it replaced here in the next couple of weeks. If it's like as soon as I can get the new tube delivered over here, then I have to get it replaced, or possibly within the next couple days, if that's a possibility. But I don't know. I have to find out what's going on. But my stomach is hurting already because I just served feeds and it's feeding into my duodenum. So, which, if you don't know medical terminology, it just means that the tube wasn't long enough to go further into my small intestines to feed me properly. So hopefully my pancreas doesn't start having problems like before. But we'll see. This still feels very weird. I'm gonna show you guys the tube briefly, but I'll show you it better later on. I think I hooked it up properly, but I'm not exactly sure. I mean, it's feeding, it's not leaking. So, this is what it looks like, and I don't know. You guys can't really see it too well right now, so I'll show you it better later. It's actually really hurting my stomach. I think I'm gonna get to go home tonight, but I'm not sure. I really don't feel good. Then the epinephrine pretty much caused like really bad side effects. Gosh, my face. It caused really bad side effects, and I think that my heart was in SVT or something. They said that it was really bad, and then I just remember bits and pieces. Like, I remember, well, I don't know. I can't even describe it or explain it, but it was not good, and I still don't feel good. I feel really sick. My head hurts, and I'm just waiting for them to come in and tell me that I can go home. I needed to get done an exam today, but obviously that's not happening now. So I have to message my professor and see if he'll grant me an extension to do it tomorrow. And complete some other assignments tomorrow. And I don't know, I have to call my mom still. But yeah, I'm just feeling super, super sick. I don't even remember coming to this room, because they took me out of the recovery room and then put me in this room. But I didn't remember coming in here. So, I don't know. Hey guys, so I just got home from the hospital, and I can't see the clock, but I'm pretty sure it's like 11 p.m. and I'm so tired. I feel so sick. So sick. Like, just, sorry, I have to do my meds. So that's what this noise is. But, I feel so sick because my feeding tube is not in the correct spot, which is very frustrating. Like,
My feeding tube was supposed to be here for months and months, and now I already have to get it changed as soon as they are able to get it to one that is the correct size. But this is what I'm stuck with for now, and it sucks because I'm so nauseous, and my entire body is just hurting really bad, and I can't figure out why. It was really crazy because I don't remember much, and the parts that I do remember was scaring me. Like, I couldn't even record though, because I know, like, I went through getting my bowel perforated and I was pretty good about recording everything, but I don't know, this time it was really hard for me to record as I was going through stuff because, I mean, I was passed out for most of it. So, pretty much, like, I went in to get my tube changed. They pre-medicated me with Benadryl, and soon as they wheeled me back to recovery, I just was so itchy. Like, I could not stop itching. I'm still itchy if you can't tell. I was so itchy and could not stop itching, and and then they put like contrast in there when they were changing my tube, which I didn't know. I couldn't see what they were doing because they put a drape over. But I could not stop itching, and then the alarms start going off, and like then it feels like my heart is going to jump out of my chest. Like, my heart was hurting really bad, and it wouldn't go away. So I keep thinking I'm seeing my sugar glider, and he's not there. I'm losing my mind. My throat started closing in, and I couldn't breathe, and my heart was hurting so bad. And like I couldn't breathe, and my body felt like it was on fire. Like, this was the worst I ever had anaphylaxis. And then next thing I know, like, I'm waking up and I'm not itchy anymore, and the alarms aren't going off, and the room looks different. And then a nurse comes in and she goes, "Oh, you're finally coming out of it." She's like, "We were worried about you." And I was like, what's going on? And the doctor then walks in behind her, and he goes, "Do you remember me?" And I was like, "No." He was like, "I was the doctor that brought the crash cart in." And I was like, "What?" And he said, "Oh yeah, we had to call a code and bring a crash cart in." He's like, "You went into really bad SVT and you weren't coming out of it." He's like, "Well, first it was the anaphylaxis, and then you went into SVT." He's like, "And then you knocked out." He's like, "And we thought we were gonna have to bring you back, but he said that my oxygen was dropping really low and they couldn't keep it up, and that my heart rate, my heart wouldn't come out of SVT, and like it was there for a good while, and he said that they were about ready to shock my heart." So I was scared. Like, I remember the last few things that I was thinking, and I was really scared because all I remember is like feeling horrible, like really bad, the worst that I have honestly ever felt. Like, I know I say that a lot in my videos, but it's true. Like, every traumatic event that I experience, I swear it just keeps getting worse, because this one, like, I've been into anaphylaxis. It's happened to me, and I've even been into anaphylaxis and then had heart issues afterwards. But this was like a whole new level because I guess they gave me epinephrine through my port, and you have to push it super, super slowly. But the nurse who did it pushed it pretty fast. And they almost had to shock my heart. And I just remember, like, suddenly it felt like, I can't even describe it. It felt like somebody was choking me. That's what it felt like. It felt like somebody was choking me. And like blood couldn't leave my head. And my throat wouldn't open back up, and like, it was horrible. I was so scared. I remember tears coming out of my eyes and being very scared, and that's the last thing I remember. And then I just woke up in a whole different place with all new people around me, and I was scared. I was crying, asking what happened, and the doctor had to tell me, I think, like 5 times because I couldn't believe what happened, and I was scared and I wanted to know more information, and he just kept telling me the same thing every time, like, oh, this happened and this happened, like, and he was very sweet about the way he was telling me, because I think he could tell I was scared. Because I never, like, I've been into anaphylaxis, but not to the point where I fully went into shock like that. And so it was really scary. But, yeah. They had to keep me for a while to make sure that I didn't go into a second reaction, and they were giving me Benadryl round the clock. Like, just to prevent a second reaction. But he told me, sleep with your EpiPen, like, right by your bed and available, like, EpiPens, they're enclosed in these cases, and, like, so he pretty much told me to sleep with it by my bed, just like this, but, like, not pulling this part off, obviously, because then it would be fully loaded. But just like this, and so that all I have to do if I'm starting to feel it, because it only takes seconds to go back into anaphylaxis and, like, fully go into shock, because it happened so fast, and it's never happened that fast for me. I've never even fully gone into shock because it's happened slow enough to where the doctors have been able to prevent it from going totally into shock. And this time they weren't able to do it fast enough. And it's not their fault, it's just my faulty body. But yeah, it's pretty scary. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. Also, something really crazy, like, okay, so this, I'm gonna explain my typical anaphylactic episodes from the past and what I normally experience when I get anaphylaxis. I'm not even gonna try to walk. I'm in my wheelchair right now. I'm feeling so sick. I really hope I don't get sick tonight. I'm about to drain my stomach. Guess we'll see how that works with the button. The button that I have to get removed. But, what was I gonna tell you guys about? Seriously about to pass out right here.
Hey guys, so sorry I didn't finish the video last night, but I just really haven't been feeling good. So I'm currently in the hospital. I'm getting some tests done. My doctor told me to come here. My chest has been hurting.
But anyways, I'm gonna show you guys what the tube looks like now and how it's so much better.